and welcome to Hannity. All right, you're feeling a little, well, turn in your stomach. The midterm's only 6 days away. Conditions look right for a major wave election. And while the polls are now generally good for Republicans, you're not going to hear anything Pollyannish on this program. I don't like the idea of overpromising and under-delivering. The only thing that's going to matter is what happens at the polls, and that will be next Tuesday. Make no mistake, anything can happen. We'll be talking about the results, or at least some of them, 1 week from tonight. We'll know in most states, hopefully all states, the results. Now, according to Real Clear Politics, their average 5 Senate races and more than 24 House races are within 2 points. Now, think about this. This is why I'm not Pollyannish. This is why I don't want to create a condition where people are overly enthusiastic. Within 2 points. That's 5 states. Now, that's the balance of power in Congress, well within the margin of error. Now, just a few thousand votes can decide whether or not Joe Biden and his radical Democratic Socialist Party will continue to have full control of your government. Now, 3 key gubernatorial races are also within 2 points, including right here in the state of New York. These races are all tight. And don't forget, in 2016, think about this. Polls showed Donald Trump losing handily, and then he shocked the world and he won the election. And if you look at 3 key states in 2016, they were decided by a combined 77,000 votes. In 2020, the margin for Joe Biden was just 43,000 votes in 3 swing states, despite the absurd projections. Joe carried Arizona, for example, by less than half a point. Now, as you might have noticed, with a few notable exceptions, most polls in the last decade have been utter garbage. In other words, your vote is what matters. Your vote is the main poll. If you don't turn out, the Democratic Party machine will win, and that would be a disaster for you, our country, our kids, our grandkids. We can't afford another 2 years of one-party Democratic Socialist rule. Anyone with a pulse knows this country is now suffering. Joe Biden and the Democratic Socialist Party's policies have done irreparable harm to our economy, to our borders, and even your daily safety and security. Now, in the shadow of the election, Democrats are now playing the blame game. Now, according to them, they played no role in any of the crises they themselves caused. Not the border crisis, not the fentanyl and opioid crisis, or the violent crime crisis, or the inflation crisis, or the high gas price crisis, or the supply chain crisis, or even the crisis of confidence at our schools. And according to Joe Biden, well, these evil, subhuman, MAGA Republicans are to blame for all of our troubles, all of your woes. The dog bites, the bee stings. If you're feeling sad, blame MAGA Republicans. And they have a top secret plan. Nobody's uttered the words yet, but they have a top secret plan, talk about a conspiracy theory, to end Medicare and Social Security and eliminate the VA and abolish democracy. Now, tonight, once again, Joey delivered another kind of bizarre, out-of-touch speech about his hatred, his full-on hatred for half the country. Take a look.
Now, extreme MAGA Republicans aim to question not only the legitimacy of past elections, but elections being held now and into the future. This is the struggle we're now in. A struggle for democracy, a struggle for decency and dignity, a struggle for prosperity and progress, a struggle for the very soul of America itself. This is also the first election since the events of January 6th, when the armed, angry mob stormed the U.S. Capitol. I wish I could say the assault on our democracy had ended that day, but I cannot.
Now, in fairness to Joey, your president, he gets an ice cream cone tonight because he really did well. He remembered the word MAGA Republican. Good job, Joe. That's the closing argument now for the Democrats. MAGA Republicans are evil. And every day is January 6th. But late-term abortion up to the very moment of birth, that's okay. And by the way, Joe's conspiracy theory that Republicans want to take away your Social Security and Medicare, what an uplifting message full of lies. As Hillary Clinton herself put it, Republicans are so horrible that they should be disqualified from even voting. If you're a MAGA Republican, you shouldn't even be allowed to vote. Take a look.
Tell me how the attack on Paul Pelosi struck you, and what did it tell you about the state of the right in this country and the hate toward a powerful woman?
Well, I think your question kind of answers itself, Joy. There's always been a streak of violence, of racism, misogyny, anti-Semitism, as you said. We're seeing a whole political party, and those who support it, those who enable it, those who run under its banner, engaging in behavior that is so dangerous and I find, frankly, disqualifying for people who are running for office.
Disqualifying. Okay. And by the way, I share everyone's concern about Paul Pelosi. We wish him well. I don't want anybody in America to be attacked as viciously as he was. That would include the dozens of Americans that died in the rioting in the summer of 2020, the thousands of cops that were injured with rocks and bricks and bottles and Molotov cocktails, and the billions of dollars in property damage. No Democrat talked or spoke out about that violence or the rhetoric around that violence, and we were lied to by a lot of Democrats saying that these are peaceful protests, or they said nothing at all, or they tweeted out bail funds to get those people rioting out back out on the street, like Kamala Harris. Now you have washed-up former Senator Claire McCaskill echoing Hillary's venom, telling her friends at MSDNC half the country lives in a slimy little dark corner where all they do is want to lie. Take a look.
Now, that's where the party of the Republicans lives. They live in that really slimy little dark corner where all they want to do is lie. All they want to do is appeal to grievance, to the worst common denominator.
I wonder if somebody's going to think Republicans are evil. Is that hate language? Is that dangerous rhetoric? They're desperate, they are angry, and they're blaming you, the American people. They don't care about the quality of your life. They weren't spitting with rage and when gas prices were spiking. They don't seem to care. We've had 9 straight months of a 41-year high of inflation, now through the roof. They don't seem to care when baby formula went missing from the shelves. They aren't too concerned about the rise in violent crime. They don't equate it to their idiotic, imbecilic policies of, let's say, defund, dismantle, and no bail. They weren't infuriated when businesses and churches were shut down and when kids were kept out of school. But now they're mad. They're mad because they might lose power. So I'll conclude with an important reminder for Democrats. This isn't a game. This is not an episode of The West Wing. Your horrible policies have had real consequences, especially on America's poor and middle class and people on fixed income. For example, on October the 4th, in the state of New York, a convicted felon with a history of violence was arrested for assault after beating his wife. And thanks to the state's zero bail laws, 24 hours later, he's right back out on the streets. And he proceeded to then execute his wife in front of her kids. Kathy Hochul, do you care to comment? Because you support these policies. Is that the data denial you're talking about, Kathy? Would the crime denier, Kathy Hochul, would she ever venture down into the New York City subway system alone without security? Because I tend to doubt it. This is not a conspiracy theory. People are dying because of defund, dismantle, no bail laws. In fact, the victim's mother in this case is even blaming the governor, telling the New York Post, quote, she should be charged for the crime. She is also responsible for the crime. And it's time to restore sanity at the local, state, and federal level and get this country back on track. You can make that happen starting in 6 days. Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.